In the dead of winter, the desert becomes a graveyard. The air is frozen. The rocks are sharp and silent. The moon hangs over the canyon like a cold white eye. Nothing moves. No insects. No flowers. No warm wind. Only stone. Dust. Darkness. And the sound of cold passing through empty space. Inside a narrow rock crevice, a small bird lies completely still. Its feathers are frosted. Its body is cold. Its heart is barely beating. Touch its skin, and it feels almost lifeless. Is it dead? No. It is sleeping. But not the kind of sleep you know. This is not a nap. This is not rest. This is not a quiet night on a branch. This is a biological shutdown. A sleep that can last for weeks, even months. Welcome to the extreme world of avian sleep adaptations, where rest is not comfort. Rest is survival. Rest is a weapon against hunger, cold, storms, predators, and the impossible mathematics of staying alive. Most birds escape winter by moving. They migrate across continents, flying thousands of miles toward warmer skies, richer feeding grounds, and longer days. For many species, migration is the standard solution when the world becomes too cold. Leave. But some birds do something stranger. They do not run from winter. They turn themselves off. This is the biology of the biological pause. There are two main ways to disappear without leaving torpor and hibernation. Torpor is a short-term dive. The body lowers its temperature, slows metabolism, and burns less energy for a few hours or overnight. Hibernation is the long-term abyss. A deeper, extended shutdown where life slows down so dramatically that the animal seems to exist on the edge of death. And among birds, one species stands almost alone. The common poorwill. Known in some traditions as the sleeping one, the poorwill is the only bird known to truly hibernate. While other birds escape, endure, or improvise, the poorwill chooses the ancient strategy of stillness. In winter, it may hide inside a rocky crevice and let its body collapse into near silence. Its normal body temperature, close to 40 degrees Celsius, can drop to around 5 degrees Celsius. Its heartbeat slows dramatically. Its breathing becomes shallow. Its oxygen consumption falls. Its cells enter conservation mode. At 5 degrees, cellular activity almost stops. The body is not trying to perform. It is trying to wait. Every molecule of energy matters. Every drop of stored fat becomes precious. Every unnecessary movement becomes dangerous. The poorwill survives by becoming less alive for a while. It does not fight winter. It ignores it. Outside, the desert remains cold and empty. Insects vanish. Nights stretch long. The world offers no food. But inside the crevice, the poorwill has pressed pause on its own biology. Spring will come. The insects will return. The air will warm. And when the signal is right, the bird will rise from its stone shelter like a ghost returning to the world. This is not weakness. This is patience at the cellular level. But for another bird, the shutdown does not happen once a year. It happens every night. The hummingbird is one of nature's most extreme machines. By day, it is a spark of motion, beating its wings dozens of times per second, hovering like a living jewel in front of flowers. Its heart can race at more than 1,000 beats per minute. Its metabolism burns fuel so fast that it is always only hours away from starvation. Beauty, for the hummingbird, is expensive. Speed is expensive. Hovering is expensive. Living at that intensity is like running a furnace inside a body smaller than your thumb. If a hummingbird slept normally, it could burn through its fuel before dawn. So every night, it performs a miracle. It enters torpor, a mini hibernation. The hummingbird's temperature drops. Its heartbeat slows. Its breathing fades. It may hang motionless from a branch, looking almost comatose. In this state, it can seem so lifeless that you could touch it and it might not wake. But it is not dying. It is surviving the night. Without this nightly shutdown, the hummingbird's own metabolism would destroy it. The engine is too powerful to idle normally, so the bird turns the engine down almost to zero. Then morning comes. The first light touches its feathers. The tiny body begins to rewarm. The heart accelerates. Muscles tremble violently. Shivering becomes the engine restarting. It may take many minutes of intense effort to return to flight temperature. Then suddenly, the jewel wakes. The wings vibrate. The eyes open. The bird launches toward the first flower. Every dawn is a resurrection. The poorwill teaches us the long sleep. The hummingbird teaches us the nightly return. But what if the problem is not lack of food alone? What if the air itself is trying to kill you? In the Arctic and subarctic world, birds, like grouse and ptarmigan, face blizzards, brutal winds, and temperatures that can drop far below freezing. A bird exposed on the surface may lose heat faster than it can replace it. Wind steals the warm layer of air around the feathers. Snow cuts visibility. The night becomes a white machine of cold. So they dig. A ptarmigan dives headfirst into a soft snowbank, disappearing beneath the surface. What looks like burial is actually shelter. This is the snow burrow, a self-made igloo. Snow may feel cold to human skin, but dry snow contains trapped air, and trapped air is insulation. That is the physics of survival. Snow can form a protective layer that blocks wind and holds heat far better than open air. Outside, the temperature may be -30 degrees Celsius. Inside the snow burrow, it may hover close to zero. That difference can mean life. The bird sleeps inside a tomb of ice to stay warm. It is one of nature's strangest truths. Sometimes the safest place in a blizzard is under the snow. But snow is only safe when it is dry and airy. Wet snow can collapse, soak feathers, reduce insulation, and become deadly. Powder traps air. Slush steals heat. The physics of snow decides who wakes up. For birds in winter, Shelter is not just a location. It is a microclimate. A hidden room between freezing and survival. Sometimes, however, the best shelter is not stone, feather, or snow. It is another body. Communal roosting is one of the oldest forms of social survival. At dusk, thousands of birds may gather in chimneys, caves, trees, reeds, or cliffs. Swifts swirl like a living tornado before entering their roost. Penguins press together in massive huddles, bodies so tightly packed that the individual almost disappears into the group. In a huddle, each bird exposes less surface area to the cold. The birds in the center are warmest. The birds on the edge pay the highest price. So the group rotates. Slowly, almost like liquid, the huddle moves. Birds from the freezing outside work their way inward. Birds from the warm center eventually drift outward. Heat becomes a shared resource. Survival becomes a collective agreement. We survive together, or we freeze alone. This is social warmth. Not emotion alone, but physics. 1,000 small bodies become one thermal machine. Penguins in Antarctica understand this better than almost any creature alive. In temperatures and winds that would kill an isolated bird, the huddle becomes a fortress. But even the center has a cost. Less fresh air, more pressure, more competition, more carbon dioxide. Survival is always a trade-off. Still, the group endures. The huddle moves like a slow-motion organism, a living answer to cold. And then there is the most fragmented sleep schedule in the bird world. The chinstrap penguin. These parents have a problem. Their eggs and chicks are vulnerable. Predators like skuas are always waiting for one careless moment. A long, deep sleep could be deadly. But no sleep would destroy the brain. So the penguin chooses a third path. Micro-napping. Instead of sleeping for long stretches, it takes thousands upon thousands of tiny naps. Some only a few seconds long. Over the course of a day, these tiny sleep fragments can add up to many hours of rest, while still allowing the parent to keep returning to awareness. The eye closes. 4 seconds pass. The eye opens. The egg is still there. Again. 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 This is not laziness. This is endurance. The brain learns to shut down and restart almost instantly. Humans often need time to sink into deep sleep, and waking abruptly can leave us confused and heavy. But these penguins flip the switch again and again. Instantif. Instantum. A mind built for survival in fragments. The ultimate parental compromise. Rest without abandoning the nest. Sleep without surrendering the future. Across the bird world, sleep becomes many things. For the poorwill, it is a seasonal escape. For the hummingbird, it is a nightly emergency shutdown. For the ptarmigan, it is a snow-covered shelter. For the penguin, it is a social and neurological balancing act. For swifts, sleep may happen inside motion. For ducks, Half the brain may stay alert while the other half rests. Birds do not treat sleep as one simple state. They bend it. They divide it. They shorten it. They deepen it. They hide inside it. They weaponize it. Because in nature, sleep is dangerous. A sleeping animal cannot flee quickly. It cannot feed. It cannot defend itself well. It cannot scan every shadow. Yet without sleep, the brain fails. The body weakens. Memory breaks. Reflexes slow. And survival collapses. So evolution had to solve an impossible problem. How do you rest without dying? The answer depends on the bird. Some become cold. Some become still. Some become many. Some become half awake. Some vanish beneath snow. Some sleep in 4-second pieces. All of them prove that sleep is not just rest. Sleep is strategy. And this strategy is becoming more fragile in a changing world. Warmer winters can wake hibernating birds too early, forcing them to burn precious fat before food returns. Artificial light can disrupt sleep rhythms. Climate change can alter snow quality, food timing, migration patterns, and the delicate signals that tell birds when to shut down and when to wake. A false spring can be deadly. If a bird wakes too soon, it spends energy it cannot replace. If insects are not ready, hunger waits. If cold returns, the body may not have enough fuel left to enter the long nap again. Survival depends on timing. And timing depends on a world that used to be more predictable. Still, nature remains astonishingly flexible. A poorwill waits in stone. A hummingbird reboots at dawn. A ptarmigan disappears into snow. Penguins huddle like a breathing continent. Chinstrap parents sleep in fragments and still protect their young. Each adaptation is a reminder that life is not passive. Life negotiates. Life calculates. Life finds the smallest gap between death and morning, then squeezes through it. As winter loosens its grip, the desert warms. Insects return. A poorwill opens its eyes after the long silence. Its heart rises from the edge. Its cells restart. The ghost bird becomes an animal again. The long nap ends. Elsewhere, a hummingbird shivers itself back into flight. A ptarmigan bursts out of the snow like a spirit from the ice. A penguin opens its eyes after another 4-second sleep and checks the egg beneath its body. The world continues. Not because it is easy, but because life has learned when to burn, when to hide, when to gather, and when to shut down. Sleep is not the opposite of survival. Sleep is one of survival's greatest inventions. From the freezing desert to the ice of the south, from the heartbeat slowed almost to nothing to the wings that rise again at dawn, birds show us that rest can be radical. Rest can be tactical. Rest can be the difference between extinction and another morning. So the next time you see a bird sleeping on a branch, do not think it is doing nothing. Inside that small body is a strategy older than civilization. A quiet war against hunger, cold, time, and death. The eyes close. The heart slows. The world freezes. But somewhere deep inside, the light stays on.